Taxi! Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Inflation continues to go down, as in a 6-year low. We have not seen inflation this low since 2020. So a Democrat talking point, a huge one for the midterms, is how they could only bring back affordability because they presided over the Biden economy, where inflation was 3 times higher than it is now, well above 9%. And they all voted for the Inflation Reduction Act, which did not lower inflation. And now, as we see with Mayor Mamdani here in New York, they promise affordability. And then we just saw yesterday that report that rents are now at an all-time high in this city. They're going in the opposite direction than what the socialists had promised. The food stores run by the government not open yet. The free childcare ain't coming anytime soon, nor is the free busing. So they want to keep running on this, and people are dumb enough to vote for it, then fine. But just look at the record of their biggest socialist in the biggest city in the country. And right now, he's batting zero as far as promises made and promises kept on the 4 big issues that he ran on. Well, here is CNBC's Rick Santelli, who, the guy always has some passion. I like it whenever he does these reports. He genuinely seems to love his job. And when you're on TV, that tends to be the case. This is cut number 1. Go.
Here we go. This is our June release of the Consumer Price Index, expecting a headline number to be negative 0.1%. This is 4 times more negative, minus 0.4%. That would be the biggest negative drop that we've seen since 4/20, since basically COVID timing, which really affected, of course, all of the inflation data points. So that goes back, basically 6-year low.
So when you see these polling numbers where, 67% disapprove of the way Trump's handling inflation, well, I'm sorry, what would you have him do? When it just keeps coming down, gas prices keep coming down, and if this trend continues, then the midterms are going to be very, very interesting. There are 5 noted analysts that came out in the New York Times yesterday, including Nate Silver, and now Silver is saying that he believes that Democrats will take back the House and the Senate, and very well could take the presidency in 2028, a clean sweep. And you say, wow, Nate Silver said that? Boy, that guy's always right, right? No. He got one election right back in 2012, which wasn't exactly a difficult election to predict. An incumbent president in Barack Obama, who got no negative press, and he went up against a milquetoast Mitt Romney, not exactly MAGA, right? Massachusetts senator. So Romney basically lost almost every swing state, and Obama won easily, and Nate Silver still doing a victory lap 14 years later to this day. It's like predicting that the Bills will beat the Jets. Yeah, that ain't hard. That's basically what that was. So, I don't know why I went with a football analogy there. Maybe I should go with baseball. It's like saying anybody beat the Mets. Yeah, I think that's better. It rhymes, too, with Jets. Anyway, the point is that I got to think these numbers will change for Trump, or just some people just so dead set against Trump, the person, that they won't give him credit for anything. Like I see on immigration, Trump is at +2 in terms of approval over disapproval. +2? The guy who secured the border, it's never been more secure. Nobody's getting into the country or being released into the country. And still he only gets those sort of marks. It's just, that's the kind of country we're in, I guess. You attach Trump's name to anything, like these Trump accounts. If you have a newborn baby, it's free money. Free, tax-free money, basically. Incredible investment. Even some Democrats are praising it, but others, if Trump's name's on it, it's got to fail. Like Trump University. Give that a rest already. Go back decades to find the last failure. Anyway, the point is that Kevin Hassett, he's one of the president's top economic advisors. He did a victory dance, and rightly so, on Fox News earlier. Cut number 6, go.
It's sure, energy prices have come down a lot, but everything else is going down too. And I think that's why, if you look at Bloomberg, they surveyed 67 economists, and 67 economists got it wrong because they didn't understand that it wasn't just about energy. It's about all these other things that President Trump is doing to cut costs.
Big thing Americans obviously care about are gas prices, especially during the summertime. If we can pull up this AAA chart showing gas prices. Right now, they're down from what they were about a month ago, but they're still significantly higher than they were this time 1 year ago. Obviously, the war in Iran is throwing a wrench into this. As long as that conflict is going on, should Americans expect these prices to just basically keep seesawing?
Well, I think that one of the ways you should think about it is that the oil prices were up almost at $150 a barrel at the peak of the conflict, and now they're low 80s today, and they were in the 60s and 70s just a week ago. So what happens is they take the oil, they move it to the refinery, and then they turn it into gasoline. So there's a whole bunch of gasoline deflation on the way. And even with the renewed conflict, if you look at what oil prices are today, they're about half of what they were in the peak.
This is all true. These are all numbers. Numbers tend to behave. One more point I was making about Nate Silver earlier, and I went off on a little tangent. 2016, he said that Hillary Clinton would win in a landslide. In 2024, he said that Kamala Harris would win. And yet, I got to see headlines everywhere. Silver says, well, yeah, he got something right 14 years ago that anybody could have gotten right. But on the two biggest elections, where it was a toss-up going into them, he predicted easy wins for Hillary and for Kamala. And now we got to listen to this guy again, just like we listened to Carville, where Carville says, Trump's not even going to finish his term. He's going to resign by next Easter. And then you go back and you look at every prediction that Carville has made over the years. Let's see, Gore over Bush, wrong. Kerry over Bush, wrong. 2008, Hillary will be the Democratic nominee, wrong. 2016, not only will Trump lose, but he'll destroy the GOP forever, wrong. 2024, obviously, wrote a big op-ed saying that he knows that Kamala Harris is going to win. Wrong. So these people make predictions. They're always wrong, and yet they get the headlines. And everybody's so lazy that writes these stories. They just don't go back and look at the scoreboard. And for Nate Silver or James Carville, it ain't good. We'll put it that way. Anyway, I got to get to these sound bites. Nicole Wallace, who used to be a communications director in the Bush White House, then suddenly realized that the only way, with that whiny voice and those droopy, like just everything about her just is so unlikable, right? And I'm saying that as a media analyst, nothing to do with her opinion so much, but the voice. And again, she only knows that she's going to stay on MS Now if she just goes 100% full Acosta in being the resistance to Trump. That's what keeps her relevant. That's what gets her invited to the 92nd Street Y for conferences with James Comey, right? That's what keeps her getting the contracts. So if she just said that, not so much like I'm doing this for the money and I'm saying things that I think my audience wants me to hear, but just say, yeah, I'm a hack. Well, maybe not that. Yeah, I never really was a Republican, but Bush hired me and then I decided I wanted to be on TV, and then 90% of political television is liberal. So I just did a weather vane and adjusted my views accordingly. Okay, say that and I'll respect it. Instead, here she is with the aforementioned Jim Acosta on the Kitchen Table podcast that seem to be popping up more and more. And here, this is what drives me nuts. Own who you are based on your words, your actions. Acosta, literally, when Trump's name came off the Kennedy Center in Washington, he equated that to the fall of the Berlin Wall. Oh, yeah, you're neutral. Anyway, be ready. If you have a bucket nearby, you might need it. Cut number 15, go.
I feel blessed to be welcomed into the pro-democracy coalition, but I feel sometimes like I'm rooting for them more than they're rooting for themselves.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Democracy is our home, Nicole. That's right, okay. I mean, right. I've never been registered with the political party. I've always been an independent. I've been a journalist. But, I mean, I think I see things clearly.
I mean, again, this act, I'm a journalist. I'm an independent. No, you're not. You absolutely are not. And Nicole Wallace, the worst of all of them. And these two guys, I guess they think their audiences are that stupid, and maybe they are. Anyway, let's go back to Nicole Wallace here, another part of this ridiculous interview, where she talks about how she refused to carry Sarah Sanders' press conferences because she lied. And as a press secretary, the lying hurt me, so I didn't put that on the air. I protected my audience. Cut 10, go.
I stopped carrying Sarah Huckabee Sanders' briefings. Just refused to carry him because having worked there, it actually hurt me to watch her lying.
I'm hurt by this information. I stopped carrying
good,
like
Kev.
weed.
That's good, Kev. So, okay, so Nicole Wallace is hurt by lying, and she would never lie. Huh. Cut number 11. This feels like a lie to me. Yeah, it definitely sounds like one. Cut 11, go.
The permission structure for violence. You've got polls about political violence. Democrats don't think it's a good idea. Only Republicans. Only people inclined to consume conservative media are now, I think, upward of 50% say that if necessary, violence is okay. You've only got the conduct on one of the two sides.
The left doesn't commit political violence. Billions of dollars in damage during the summer of love of 2020. Black Lives Matter, which at last check ain't CPAC. Okay. So that example alone, Antifa, the bombing of Tesla dealerships, that came from the left. President Trump's the one getting shot at from the left. But no, Democrats, they don't believe in political violence, and only Republicans do. Funny, because I got a poll here from Rutgers University showing that 56% of those surveyed believe that assassinating President Trump would be somewhat justified. Yeah, I'm sure that's from the right, Nikki? Anyway, one more before we go to break. Oh, I do love this. Nicole Wallace, this is a flashback. DJ Daniel, I think you may remember him. 13-year-old kid, stage 4 brain cancer, had to have multiple surgeries. And President Trump honored him, still alive, by making him he was either a DC police officer or a Secret Service agent, but either way, like, he gets the badge, and it was a standing ovation by half the gallery at the State of the Union back in January. But Nicole Wallace, this is what her takeaway was from such a special moment that you'll ever see. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat president doing this. You're honoring a kid who's beating cancer. But she had a big problem with, well, what his life may be in a world where Donald Trump was once president. Cut number 9, go.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
So she took a kid beating cancer and being honored by the president of the United States and somehow tied it to January 6th, a future January 6th. Yep. She's independent. She's neutral. Nope.